So, how is attachment formed? Like, how do we get there? What do you mean? I'm so glad you asked. This is something I love talking about. There's a lot of things I love talking about. Here's another one. Um, let's break down the difference between how secure attachment is formed and how insecure attachment is formed. So, I'm not going to go into all the different attachment styles. But this gives you the two categories because there's one secure and there's multiple insecure. So I'm just going to break down that pattern in the first place and what happens that creates the differences. So for secure attachment style, this happens. Well, both happen in the day-to-day, over and over and over and over moments of the early years of a child's life, especially those first couple years, right? That 0 to 2, 3-ish. But I really want to hone in on like that first year. So when you think about an infant, all right? So this is kind of the dance, the loop that happens over and over and over every day, right? A baby has a need. They express their need via crying, right? The adult responds, meets their need, and then the baby learns trust and self-worth and that their voice matters. So that might look like the baby cries because they're hungry, and the adult shows up and they feed that baby, and then the baby feels content and satisfied and loved and cared for and comfortable and all those good things. And then they understand when I cry, caregiver comes, I get to eat, and then I feel better. This is great. This is how this goes, right? And so obviously it's not something they're thinking about, but it's very much a felt body experience, okay? So if you've been around an infant, you know that this happens a lot because they need more than just being fed. They need diaper changes a lot. They need to be cuddled and snuggled and rocked anytime they have big feelings, right? They need to be fed, yes. They needed to take naps and to be calmed and comforted into their naps or to bedtime or whatnot. They need to be bathed, all of these things. They need to have that face-to-face connection. So when you think about how many times a day, now, if you have not cared for your own infant, you have probably known someone in your life who has, and you've probably had some level of insight to that, right? Of this happens a lot. So it's in these repetitions of some of these really simple, mundane moments that the secure attachment is formed. Because over and over and over, all these repetitions of I use my voice, somebody comes and meets my need, I feel a lot better, and I trust someone to take care of me and to meet my needs. So that is how and like what it looks like when we're developing the secure attachment. But we know not everyone has a secure attachment, and not everyone was raised in an environment where the caregiver was that responsive or attuned to the infant's needs, right? Maybe this is you. Maybe this is someone you care for. So let me break down what it looks like when we've developed an insecure attachment style, all right? So similar process. Infant has a felt need. That infant expresses their need. And then two things. Either nobody comes and the need continues to go unmet, or somebody comes, but they're not helpful, or they're not calming or comforting, or they don't actually know what the need is, okay? And this is the majority of all of these repetitions over and over and over all day long, all right? So the caregiver does respond in a way that's not helpful, or it's chaotic, or maybe more stressful, or they don't really respond at all. So either one of those options, that need continues to go unmet, and that infant, that child would feel and sense and experience, my voice doesn't work, it doesn't matter, and I can't trust, right? Somebody else doesn't know how to meet my needs. So, and then there's kind of this whole other, right? Well, I will get into that in other videos on attachment, but then there's all of these other pathways for how that little one would resolve or come to the conclusion of what do I do with this, right? And that plays out differently. So again, it's in these simple and yet repetitive moments in those early years of life when this is established of that child either learning trust and that their voice matters, or fear and distrust in their voice doesn't matter. So that's obviously a very simple picture of what that looks like, but I hope that that helps resonate the difference, right? Of one child has the repetitions and doesn't really have to think about it because their needs are continually met. They have that felt experience of, I can trust people because they feed me and they change my diaper and they help me take my naps when I need some sleep, and all of those things, the good things. And on the other end, with that insecurity, we have a little one who's not really sure if this adult knows how to meet my need this time. We're not really sure if they're going to come at all. We're not really sure if they're actually going to be helpful or make me feel more stressed because maybe they can't figure it out. And let me be clear, every caregiver has moments where they can't figure it out. Every caregiver does. Every caregiver has moments where they show up to help that baby, but they are overstressed themselves, right? They don't feel calm and soothing and all of the warm fuzzies. I'm speaking about when this is the majority of the level of care. So absolutely, you can have a secure attachment style even with a very flawed parent, okay, who didn't get it right every single time. But if they showed up and met needs the majority of the time, that's the difference. So with these dances that I kind of described for you, keep in mind it's the majority of the time. It's not looking like perfection. It's not an all or nothing. Okay. Because we have room for when, you know what, parenting is hard and meeting needs and discerning what the needs are takes time to learn too. So I hope that that helps. Again, secure and insecure attachment, definitely different experiences, and they're ultimately shaped early on in life.